Morning, folks. Hiya! How are we doing? What a glorious day! I think we're going to hit temperatures of 24 plus today. Bloody marvellous. Now, I'm actually filming this at the beginning of July. The reason I tell you that is because, as you will guess from the title of the video, me and the Brian have been together for a whole year, nearly. 4th of August. 4th of August 19... Rain's gone. 4th of August 2021, I picked up the Brian. And between us, we've done just over 5,000 miles. It's actually on just over 5.5, but I picked it up with 500 miles on, as this was the ex-demo for M&Ps in Cardiff. When I picked it up, it had the boxes on them, metal panniers. I've taken them off for convenience, that's all. Nothing wrong with them. So yeah, a whole year with the Brian. So I thought I'd tell you how it's been. My experiences, as it were. Well, let's start off with why I bought the Brian. I hadn't long part-exed my Kawasaki Versys 1000, which was looking very old and tired, due to my commute. A lot of muck on the roads, and it just eats the paintwork and stuff. Is horrible. Anyway, I recently part-exed the Versys. Not doing well this morning. Brain's fuddled. And I bought the BMW R1200R, the naked BMW. Which makes me laugh. Every time I tell people I got a 1200 BM, they say, "Oh, have you got a GS?" No, there are other models in the range, folks. They don't just do the GS. Anyway, at the time I also owned my Aprilia Dorsodoro 750, which I call the Asbo. That damn thing should have come with that Asbo, I tell you. And for those who've never heard of an Asbo, it's an anti-social behaviour order. Courts used to dish them out to people who misbehaved and upset the locals. It was a kind of slap on the wrist from the courts, and to most kids, especially youngsters, it was a badge of honour. So a complete waste of time, but there we go. Anyway, I had the Asbo, and the Asbo was an absolutely fantastic bike if you want to hammer around like an absolute hooligan everywhere you go. That's all you could do with it. It wasn't practical in any shape or form. It was an out-and-out hooligan bike. And I say hooligan because there's no H in it. Brilliant fun, don't get me wrong. Absolutely fantastic fun to ride. But mental. Yeah, I had that and it was great. But I was thinking, you know, I can't commute to and from work on the Asbo. It wasn't practical. The fact the tail end was cut short and the spray off the back tyre in wet weather was horrendous. You get absolutely drowned. It was like having a hose pipe sprayed up your back. And I didn't want to use the BMW for commuting all year round, because, as I said before, the roads I go on are absolutely filthy. A lot of traffic going to and from the docks. They're on it and they kick up all sorts of muck on the road, and it's absolutely horrendous. So I thought, I need something I can commute on. Well, the then salesman in M&Ps, who's now gone, he offered me a good deal on the Himalayan. I think basically they weren't selling them very well at the time, or they weren't very popular at the time. I don't know what it was. They weren't moving them, so he offered me a good deal on this one, the demo model. Now, being the demo model, it came with the brace handlebars, it had the metal panniers on there. I've got the engine crash bars on it. So I thought, you know what, that's not a bad deal at all, to be honest. And it'd be ideal because I got the luggage for travelling back and forth to work, etc. And I did fancy doing a few green lanes. I used to do a bit in Land Rovers and 4x4s and that. Till it just got to the point where there was nowhere really we could take the big Land Rovers locally. You were talking a fair distance of travelling just to go and have a play. And if anything went wrong, it's a long way to get towed home. So anyway, fancy doing a bit of green laning. I looked at the Brian and thought, you know what, that'd be alright that. So I took it for a test ride and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Absolutely loved it. Excuse me, because it's different to anything else I've recently owned or ridden. There are better bikes out there, there are bigger bikes, more powerful bikes. But I love the Himalayan for its simplicity. They're inexpensive to buy, they're inexpensive to run, maintain. Now, these things do around 80 plus miles to the gallon. Now with today's fuel prices, that's awesome. They are so simple to work on. If you know your way around a box of spanners, you can work on these bikes yourself. I think you can do pretty much all your maintenance and repairs with the toolkit that's under the seat. They are that simple. And they're robust. If you look back through my videos, you'll see when I went off-roading on this one, I'd only owned the bike a couple of weeks, I had an off. Only a minor off. But the bike took the impact really well. And it's still going strong. I've dropped it a few times off-road and all sorts, and picked it up and carried on, and they do take quite a pounding, in all fairness. They survive rather well. So that's kind of why I bought it. I wanted a bike I could use for commuting to and from work, but also something I could have a bit of fun on. I've got the BMW if I want to go quick or long distances, and that thing is awesome. But then the Himalayan is brilliant for its own abilities, as it were. I love doing country back lanes, as you'll see from my videos. I do loads of them, and this bike is ideally suited to that. Absolutely ideal. That's basically why I bought the Brian. So why do I call it the Brian? Well, anybody who's old enough to remember, like me, will remember a kids program, children's program called The Magic Roundabout. Puppets, etc. Goes way back, way back. 40, 50 years maybe. And one of the characters on The Magic Roundabout was Brian, who's a snail. Hence the name. Brian. I call him the Brian. A few people have mistaken it, thinking it's Brian Monty Python, but no. Massive Python fan that I am. No, it's all to do with Brian the Snail. Hiya! Yeah, I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. No, I'm not going to start singing. That's how I'll get myself banned from YouTube. Right, yeah, I was saying about the Brian. What a awesome bike it is for me. For me personally. I'm not saying it's for everyone. Don't get me wrong. Right, let's try this cat ash lane. Or cat's ass lane, as I will call it. Apparently you end up in Usk, which will do me. So how has it been for a whole year with the Brian? Awesome. No complaints. Issues wise, I think the only problem I've had with it is the front brake. Now the front brake is never brilliant on these Himalayans. It's quite a wooden feel to it. It takes a fair bit of brake pressure to slow you down. But that's the way they are. Now, there was a recall on the front brake caliper because they were prone to seizing, which mine did. Unfortunately, due to a clerical error, my bike wasn't registered for the recall. Probably because it was a demo bike. Well, anyway, sorry, just watching a car trying to plough into me. Good fun round here. Anyway, yeah, hang on, which way am I going? Oh, Roman Road, that sounds like fun. Let's try that. I've not been up there. We'll get back to the point in a minute. Yeah, so front caliper had to be replaced under warranty. No dramas, that was done, but I did pay for a different set of brake pads to be fitted. I asked for EBC or Girlfriend or whatever they were pads to be fitted, which are a lot better, in my opinion. The other issue I had was the steering head bearings went very stiff and notchy. Now, having checked a few forums and Facebook pages and that, apparently in the factory the the quality control is not necessarily brilliant, shall we say. But when I explained this to the shop, no problem. They stripped down the front end, checked the bearings, they were fine, thoroughly cleaned them and re-greased them with a rubber grease so that water can't penetrate. And since then, touch wood, they've been absolutely fantastic. No dramas whatsoever. So it's all good. Front brakes fine. It has improved, not dramatically. We haven't gone from fairly wooden brakes that are not superb to the standard of Brembo sort of thing, but it is better. But then on the Bryans, or on a Himalayan, they're not that quick, so you don't need that much stopping power, and the back brake is fantastic. Combine the both and you will stop pretty quick, in all fairness. Not a drama. Well, that's literally all the problems I've had with it so far, which I'm impressed with. So that's it. That is all the issues I've had so far with the bike in a year and 5,000 miles. On the upside, I've had many great days out. Like today, I've been out in all weathers. I've been off-road, mildly. It's not great on A roads and motorways, dual carriageways, that sort of thing. But then that's not why you buy the damn bike. Like I said, you buy it for what it is, not for what it does. Ish. Right, have I modified this one at all? Yes, I have. Initially I put a tank ring on for my Givey tank bag, because I had a tank ring on my BMW as well. I mean, I've had that bag for about 3 years or more on different bikes. Used it in all weathers. Unfortunately, zips broke on it recently, so I removed the tank ring. Excuse me. If anybody wants a Givey tank ring for a Himalayan, get in touch. The other mods I've done to him, on the front here, you'll see in my other videos, you won't see on this, obviously the camera's facing me. I've got a sat-nav or phone holder bracket behind the screen. It was a eBay or Amazon special. I think it was something like about 12 or 16 quid. I can't honestly remember. Not the greatest of quality, but it does the job. It simply bolts in behind your screen. You use the 4 bolts to hold your screen in place. Other mods I've done to here, I fitted very small spacers on the front mudguard. They're something like 30mm spacers, and all it does is raise the front mudguard off the tyre a little. Gives you a little bit more clearance on the tyre should you get a lot of mud built up in there. I did that in prep for off-roading. Also, the wife bought it for me, but I fitted a heel guard over the rear brake master cylinder, just for protection. That's it really. I have replaced the original tyres, the original Seat tyres. They had plenty of life in them, but I wanted a slightly more aggressive tyre for when I went off-road, so I bought the Mitas or Mitas E07s. They say it's a 50-50 tyre. It's quite an aggressive tyre, and you do feel it on tarmac. Like now, you can feel the vibration of the tread, but it's nothing too intrusive. You get used to it. and they seem to handle really well in all weather conditions on road. Haven't done a lot of off-roading with them, and they seem to work fine for that, for my meagre abilities. And they're not expensive. They were about 160 quid the pair, I believe. Obviously you'd have to get them fitted then, but not expensive if you want a more aggressive tyre. If not, stick to the Seat or Pirelli. I think they're Pirelli P60s, I think they call them. I don't know, double check that. They're perfectly adequate tyres, and you can go off-roading, green laning on them. I just prefer the more aggressive tyre tread. Yeah, I can highly recommend the Himalayan for what it is. It's a basic, simple, not very powerful, not very quick, very easy to ride bike. It's fantastic for commuting, as long as your commute doesn't include dual carriageways and motorways. It's good fun to have as a toy for the weekend, if you like. You can go off-road on them, within reason. You know, a CR250 will go off-road far better than this will. A KTM 392 will handle better than this will, and it'll go faster. And they're not much more expensive than these. So if you want a Himalayan, buy a Himalayan. I think they're great. I have no plans of replacing the Brian with anything else, not for a very, very long time. Like I say, it just suits my purposes, and I enjoy riding the bike. As much as I love to ride quick and go long distances, I do on a BMW, I also enjoy doing shorter trips on the Brian at slower pace, enjoying the scenery. Now there we are, folks. I'm going to leave it there. I've babbled away for probably half an hour now. I'm going to have to trim this down a little bit, or you'll be bored to tears and turn the damn thing off. And I don't blame you. I would. Hey, I'm not Teapot One or the Missing and Flyer. I'm me. I'm Grumps Rides. I do things my way. No way from the Harley. Hey ho. Yeah, to leave it here. I'm going now. And as I always say, unless I forget and get in trouble with Mrs. Grumps, but that's another story, which is on my channel as well. Yeah, anyway, everybody, be safe, ride safe and have fun. And of course, toodles!